restart. Joe Nemechek out with the lead. A lapped car separating him from second place Ricky Craven. That'll be the 57 of Jason Keller. 5 lead changes thus far among 4 different drivers. Back in the pack a little bit, there's David Green, 44, the Slim Jim car, the point leader. Back of Tommy Houston. Steve Grissom is right with Green. Both on the lead lap. And Craven gets underneath the rookie driver from Greenville, South Carolina there. And bangs him in the door, and under goes Todd Bodine and Tommy Houston. Everybody gets through, but that will cost Craven second place. Todd Bodine moves up.
Yeah, he was able to get around the guy he was racing with, but he got tangled up with him and lost 2 positions. If you get the least bit out of shape, you're going to have some guys drive right on by you.
That'll extend Nemechek's lead a little bit. There's Jeff Burton working the outside. Look at the right side of Craven's car. The wheel mark behind the right front wheel. He can only hope that that brush with Keller did not ruin the alignment on the right front of that car.
Yeah, we'll see when he comes around this time. Here are leaders. We'll see if we can get back here and take a look at Craven's car. Look at the damage right behind the wheel. Just like Mike said, how much did it lean on that suspension? He's had one of the fastest cars all day. We'll just have to see if it's hurt him in the long run. While I'm saying that, he's reeling Todd Bodine in. If it did anything, might have helped him some.
Looks like, Neil, that whole wheel mark is behind the right front wheel. So he caught it all with the sheet metal. Would be pretty good. Keller's holding his own. He's dropped back in the pack a little bit. Was already lapped down.
Here he is. He's trying to get up under him off the corner.
Craven trying the inside on Todd Bodine. This for second place. Tommy Houston is right there.
Here's where we've had trouble. When they drive in the corner hard, they move the outside guy a little wider than he wants to run. That's what's tough on the guy running the outside lane. As they come off the corner, you've got to leave that guy room out there.
Todd Bodine's done a good job with this team. They pick up his sponsor into the season.
There he got by him, Indy. Craven cleared him enough that he can move up, use the entire track to run a pattern now.
Yep, Todd will drop to third place. Craven in second, and here's your leader, Joe Nemechek. This time around, we'll give you a look at the separation that he has on that battling that's been going on back and forth behind him. About 1.3 seconds between Nemechek coming out of 4. And there's Ricky Craven. Todd Bodine now has his hands full with Ward Burton, who is 2 laps down after the ignition cut off.
Yeah, he was running exceptionally well. The ignition cut off on him, and he lost those 2 laps still on the racetrack. He hasn't lost a lot while he's running. He's right up there with the leaders, just 2 down.
12 cars on the lead lap here. Chuck Bown ahead of Butch Miller. Let's give you a look you won't often see. Well, you won't ever see, except perhaps here on TNN. That's the right rear spring nearest to you, that yellow coil spring. Down the lower right-hand corner, that spinning white piece is the drive shaft, and then the yoke is black, and you can see the pulley for the differential cooler there and its belt being turned by the drive shaft.
Yeah, the spring on the far right, you notice it hardly ever moves. All the work is on that right rear. And look at 600 gear. See the 600 on the side of the rear end housing? He's pulling a 600 ratio. That's one reason they're turning the RPM so much in these cars on this size racetrack.
Neil, how much of a difference will you run right to left for rear spring?
This is probably like a 250-pound right rear that's showing on the left of the screen is probably 250 rate, and that's a 200 over on the other side. Even though you have 55% left weight, you nail that left rear tire down, drive it in the ground where to get a good bite, and you let the right rear do all the traveling.
Bound getting passed by Butch Miller and Bobby Dotter here. Ooh, no, trouble. And around went David Green, Shauna Robinson, stopped just shy of him, and here they all come to the flag, trying to hustle back around and stay on the lead lap. It was the 44 car of David Green, the series point leader, that went around at lap 192 to bring out our 8th caution. See how that one got started as we were watching Chuck Bound and Butch Miller move up into the midst of that action.
I'll tell you who was coming trying to get a lap back. Was Nemechek was leading the race, and Ward Burton in the 2 car was really gaining on him.
Let's see if we can see what happened here to David Green in 44.
Well, they spun right up in front of him here, and we see what happens. Everybody's getting on the brakes. It's hard to tell what caused it, but he was already turned around sitting in the middle of the track.
Well, that yellow car, Bobby Dotter, dodged a bullet down to the inside. Made a great escape. We're under caution for the 8th time today here at Hickory, North Carolina. 194 laps are complete, and all the leaders will pit. Here comes Nemechek, Craven, Bodine, Houston, and Grissom. We're back at Hickory, North Carolina, and surprise, we're under caution again. Bobby Hamilton's car is up against the fence in the back straightaway, but he was the last car in to what started out as a 1-car spin and then became a 3-car jam session. Let's show you what happened.
It's almost like 3 different wrecks, Mike, as this thing unfolds. This is coming up off turn 2. 25 car was up in the wall while this one, the 2, was down on the grass. Watch the 25 try to get back up to speed. He's coming out. He clips the car of Bobby Hamilton, turns him right straight into the wall. The Hamilton car had been damaged pretty bad on the right side already. That one right there finished it off.
Let's have a look from Chuck Bound's car at what happened.
Here Chuck shift gears there. He shoved it up 3rd gear to get on out of the way of the accident and then pull her back 4th. A lot of problems you have in a wreck like that is stopping too quick and get hit from the rear. Chuck shifted into 3rd gear when the opening came, and he went right on through the wreck.
Rookie mistake, perhaps, on Sadler's part by pulling out and coming down the racetrack?
Mike, it's hard to say. When you're on that outside lane, you got the tires and old scrubby stuff up there, and you turn, and sometimes the car won't turn in the direction it wants to go. But he definitely came out and clipped the car Bobby Hamilton, whatever the reason was.
Don't know if Hamilton would have been able to avoid him otherwise. We'll never know. Coming up live on TNN, one hot night, they called it last year, and it sure lived up to its billing. It's the Winston. It's NASCAR's all-star night. The Winston Open and the Winston. May 22nd is this year's date. Mark your calendar. Live at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time from the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Here's the 8 car, which must have saved some tires because they're looking at the damage they have. The inspector's looking at it. I've been seeing smoke come out of the rear of that car. And that inspector was standing right there. Sometimes they make him pull that wheel off, let him really inspect that area to make sure he's not leaking stuff on the racetrack, but they're letting him go back out.
54 laps to go. 11 caution flags thus far.
Here we are riding along.
Chuck Bound's car.
Chuck Bound's car. Get straight here.
So Butch Miller is the leader. Steve Grissom is 2nd. Ricky Craven is 3rd. Bobby Dotter is 4th. Joe Nemechek up to 5th. He got around Tommy Houston, who is 6th. Mike Wallace is 7th. Todd Bodine is 8th. Tom Peck is 9th. David Green is 10th. Chuck Bound has the 11th spot. And those cars are on the lead lap as we get ready to go back to green.
I'm not so sure that the 31 car of Grissom's best shot to get around the 75 is right after the start of the race. Right at on the restarts is when he's going to have to jump on.
Whose tires come back to temperature the quickest? That'll be the question. It's Hoosier against Goodyear for the lead and the win here at Hickory. 52 laps to go. We're under green. Grissom had a look on the bottom.
Taking more than a look now.
Taking a bite.
Got up beside him right there. I was just saying, I feel like Grissom's strong move was to make it right on the restart because it looked like the 75 car got better as they ran. He was able to get away from Grissom some.
Well, he was paying attention, Professor Bonnet, but that was the move. But he has not yet cleared Butch Miller.
No, Glenn had noticed from the pits that the 31 car would get a little bit loose after a few laps. If the 75 can make him work on that inside for a while, he might be able to pull back around him.
Miller is strong coming off the corner. Draws dead even again at the start-finish line. That would have been a dead heat had it been the last lap.
And there's not any room between these two cars. When you're in a race like this, the 31's leaning to the right, the 75's turning hard left. They're just laying on each other up and down off these corners. You got to make your own room on this size racetrack.